Good morning, beloveds. It is discount chocolate day. just the day after Valentine's Day. We all have our priorities, right? All right. Okay. It is February 15th. Our title is The Joy of the Lord is Mine Today. Psalm 16. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forever. Psalm 16:11. Self-pity is the indication of an egocentric mind. This common error should be treated as definitely as we treat a disease. Actually, it is a temporary illness of the consciousness. Its cure is to realize that the only way the joy of the Spirit can function in our world is by functioning from a point within us. We cannot experience joy around us until we have created it within us. God is the joy and zest of life. God's presence within and around us, forever calling our attention to the happiness of living the abundant life, is forever calling our attention to the happiness of living the abundant life. Too much thinking in personal terms causes us to start sympathizing with ourselves. It is easy to describe the hurts and offenses that are offered to us and to inwardly build them into false judgments of people and conditions. But no one destroys our joy but ourselves, and no one creates our joy for us. God's Spirit within is the cause and the producer of our happiness. The fullness of joy is for me this day because I love God and appreciate God's Spirit in my fellow human. There is no self-pity in my consciousness. I believe that the joy of the Lord is within me, and I saturate my thinking with it this day. I have happiness in my heart and joy in my soul. I laugh and live in peace. I give joy to all whom I meet. I speak only of those things which bring joy to my friends and happiness to myself. I see my present world as heaven. I see my present family, friends, and co-workers as spiritual beings. I see God everywhere, and my joy is full. I give thanks to the unfailing presence of God for this joy in my life. All right, so you know what I heard? Happiness is an inside job. Literally, happiness is an inside job. When you look at the word disease, it actually is dis-ease, and self-pity is dis-ease. It is an unhappiness with your lot in life. And honestly, and you can go look at the science, one of the best ways to get out of self-pity is to go serve or help someone else. And there are so many ways to do that. Volunteering. Come on up. Okay. There are so many ways to do it. And it gets you out of worrying about your own problems, your own issues, whatever else is going on. And you can see Hayes back there. He had a bad day on Sunday, but he's doing much better today. Yeah, happiness is an inside job. And if we are not happy, then what do we need to do? Ernest says the first thing we need to do is go within. We need to go within, ground ourselves in spirit, and then we can move forward into what do we need to do about our environment around us, and maybe the people. And then, like I said, science shows one of the best things you can do is volunteer, to go and be of service to someone else. And so those are steps that we can take to be happy. And oftentimes when we are of service, then one of the things, we are activating that love of God through us. and sharing it with others, and it allows us to see God around us. Especially if we go into volunteering as with the attitude of these are my fellow godlings and I am lifting them up. Not, well, because my lot's better, I have crumbs to throw at you. You know, there's an attitude that comes to it. We serve because we can. And one of the tenets of Science of Mind is we treat to work on whatever it is that we're working on, but we also treat to not need to do it anymore. It's like, yes, practitioners are the healing arm of Science of Mind, but we're treating to know that we're treating to live in a world where we're not necessary for the healing arm. Okay. And I just heard my mom. That was my mom trying to call in. So I'm like, I'm going to have to call her back. All right. So, the joy of the Lord is mine today. That is the title. Thou wilt, it's in the old language. So, thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. So that is Psalm 16:11. Please check it out. Check out Psalm 16. All right. So he starts off with self-pity is an indication of the egocentric mind. Now, that is not a bad thing. The ego is not a bad thing. All right, let's start there. The ego is not a bad thing. The ego has a purpose. The ego is a tool, but it shouldn't be the center. Which is why he says ego. It's an indication of egocentric mind. We are allowed to have self-pity, okay? But we shouldn't wallow in it. And I just showed it on us, so, it's like, yes, when things happen, we are allowed a moment to grieve, whatever it is. But self-pity is grief taken too far, okay? So you are allowed a moment to go, yeah, and then you get on with it. And when I say a moment, I used a moment, not minute, because a moment is up to you, okay? A moment is a particular amount of time that you get to decide. This common error should be treated as definitely as we would treat a disease. Like I said, dis-ease. Because self-pity is a dis-ease. You are not at ease with yourself. Actually, it is a temporary illness of the consciousness. I'm going to let Ernest have that one. Because he would probably tell you you're focused on the wrong thing. You're focused on the problem, not the solution. Its cure is to realize that the only way the joy of spirit can function in our world is by functioning from a point within us, which is why I said happiness is an inside job. So Ernest would say if you are wallowing in self-pity, the first place you go is into spiritual treatment, into yourself. Now, sometimes that's too hard, which is why I gave you the other option of go volunteer. Go be of service to somebody. Even if it's just something as simple as going shopping with a friend where you don't need anything, but you can help them. It doesn't have to be this world-changing of service thing. It can be something simple like that. Or go have coffee with a friend and talk to a friend. Just not about you. It's like, let your stuff be in the background because you are being of service. We cannot experience joy around us until we have created it within us. Again, happiness is an inside job. When we know who we are, then we can recognize God all around us. God is the joy and zest of life. God's presence within and around us is forever calling our attention to the happiness of living the abundant life. When we know that we are beloved children of God, then it is easier for us to look around and go, oh yeah, no, this is all God. Okay? Super important. That's the point of spiritual practice. Too much thinking in personal terms causes us to start sympathizing with ourselves. Take that one into your spiritual treatment or meditation. Don't think too much about yourself. Is what I'm hearing. It is easy to describe the hurts and offenses that have offended us and to inwardly build them into false judgments of people and conditions. That sounds like wallowing. All right. People hurt. We get hurt. We get offended. And we are allowed to take steps to deal with that. But what he's saying is don't wallow. Because if you spend too much time thinking about it, you're just going to continue to wind yourself up and get more and more and more upset. So don't do that. Think about it for the time that it needs so that you can make a plan and take steps to deal with it. But don't continue to wallow. Wallow is apparently my word today. But no one destroys our joy but ourselves. That's that overthinking thing. And no one creates our joy for us. Happiness is an inside job. God's spirit within us is the cause and producer of our happiness when we know who we are. So, the fullness of joy is for me this day because I love God and appreciate God's spirit in my fellow person. I appreciate God's spirit in every living thing. Now, do I do it 100% of the time? No, but when I catch myself not doing it, that's when I go into spiritual practice, spiritual treatment. There is no self-pity in my consciousness. I believe that the joy of the Lord is within me, and I saturate my thinking with it this day. You on a mission? I have a happiness in my heart and joy in my soul. I mean, what better to get up and look yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, I have happiness in my heart and joy in my soul. And say it to yourself every day and see if it doesn't make a shift. I mean, set your intention for the day. I laugh and live in peace. I give joy to all whom I meet. And that kind of comes from my goal of being that island of calm. No matter what's going on in the world, when you walk into my presence, I want my presence to be peaceful and loving and compassionate and funny and happy, so that no matter what you walk in feeling, maybe while you're in my presence, you can set your burdens down for a little bit. And maybe when you walk out of my presence, you don't pick the burdens back up. I mean, sometimes we do have burdens we have to, but you know what I mean. All right. I speak only of those things which bring joy to my friends and happiness to myself. Okay, that sometimes is kind of hard. I speak only of things that bring happiness. Because sometimes we have to have tough conversations. But we can have tough conversations in a way that doesn't just kill everybody's mood. All right? Yes, tough conversations have to happen, but we can do them in loving and kind and compassionate ways. While they may not bring happiness, at least they don't bring despair. Okay? So bear that in mind. I speak only of those things. He's not saying you don't have tough conversations. He's not saying you can't have tough conversations. He is saying that maybe think about the way you're doing it. And as often as possible, speak joy. Speak joy. I see my present world as heaven. I see my present family, friends, and coworkers as spiritual beings. I see God everywhere and my joy is full. I see God everywhere and my joy is full. I mean, it's just an amazing sentence. I give thanks to the unfailing presence of God for this joy in my life, because God is an unfailing presence. There is nothing but God, which means that presence can never fail. I may fail to notice it, but the presence is still there. It's just awaiting me being aware of it. All right, beloveds. So there's, that whole last paragraph. There's only 2 paragraphs in this, and you can see, is kind of the mission today. So what I am going to say is that the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to believe that the joy of the Lord is within us, to believe that the joy of Spirit, of God, of infinite mind, whatever word you want to use, is within us, and that we saturate our thinking with that today. Focus on the good, focus on the God, focus on the Spirit, focus on the peace, and saturate your thinking with that. Anytime you find yourself drifting away from that, don't beat yourself up about it. Just bring it back. Bring it back to that joy and that happiness and that peace and that Spirit. That's the mission today, should we choose to accept it. The other mission is the same mission I always give you, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever it looks like. And like this morning, Tom has a cold, and I feel for him. 'Cause he's just like, and so I've been just pumping him full of all the stuff to help activate his immune system. And he was going to go for the walk with me this morning. And I was like, dude, no, I'm listening to that cough. Stay home. So, and that was loving, kind, and compassionate for both of us. Because one, he needs the rest. He doesn't need to be out in that cold air with that cough. And two, then, I got to take my walk at my pace and not worry about him, knowing that he was, in a safe, warm place and breathing good air and not, trying to keep up with me. So that's sometimes what loving, kind, compassionate looks like. It's like, yes, I love having him walk with me, but today it was better for both of us that he didn't. So, all right. So that's when you do loving, kind, compassionate things. It can be the same thing every day, but it can be a different thing every day. The point is to practice, to create that habit, to create that default setting, to create that so that no matter what happens, I don't know that you can see him because he's curled up kind of tight. When he has a bad day, because he's elderly, I don't have a bad day. Sunday was not a great day. So, but I'm working on it. I'm human. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So I am practicing. I'm practicing as well. All right, beloveds. I will encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. I will encourage you to go get that face full of sun. I will encourage you to drink plenty of water, as I always do. And I do encourage you, as Ernest says, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us. Happiness is an inside job. And when we are not, the first place to go is within. Go within. Find that spark. Pull that forward. And then look around outside of you and see, is there something that you need to change? Is there somewhere you need to go? Is there something you need to do? Is there someone you need to talk to? Therapy's a good thing. We encourage it. All right. You got to take care of you. All right. Okay. I'm going to move into the process of my day. I have class tonight. Yay. Have I finished my homework? No. So I guess I know what I'm doing on my lunch break. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. He's also in that class. So, and I will be back with you at 9 a.m. I encourage you to take care of yourself in whatever ways that you need to. If you have, I guess I haven't been saying it lately. If you want to know what's going on in the center, email info@creativelife.org. We have an amazing soul session coming up for you tomorrow. So please join us for that. And if you can't join us on Facebook Live, I'll have it up on YouTube. The soul sessions are easy because basically I just download them and upload them. I don't have to edit them. So check that out on YouTube later tomorrow. It's with practitioner Tracy Brown, and she is amazing. I have no idea what they're going to talk about. It'll be great. So have fun, Have an amazing day, a great day, a fantastic day, an enchanting day, a magical day, a productive day, a restful day. Whatever your day is going to look like for you, a good day. If that is too much pressure, simply have a day. Because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased always and forever. All right, beloveds. Follow us on the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. I am the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias. So if you need us, there we are. Okay, beloveds, have a day, whatever it looks like for you. Remember, happiness is an inside job, and I will see you next time. Know that you're loved.